Good morning.
Good morning.
And a happy new year. Another one is done in the books, isn't it? I trust you had a good couple of weeks in the Lord. I know we did. Blessed beyond measure, aren't we? With heavenly treasure. Lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust and inflation can't get to it. That was the clay version of that. But good to be back with you this morning. It seems like a long time. It's only been a couple of weeks. But good to see familiar faces. Glad our brother could be with us. A lot of prayers went up for you this week, brother. Lord brought him to remembrance several times. You often wonder, Lord, why him and not me? You ever wonder that? You ever feel guilty? Yeah, it'll come. Keep living. I told Harold, I was telling him the other day, I feel guilty because I know so many that have family members that battle addiction, and we pray for my brother, and the Lord has relieved him of that. And I feel guilty at times bragging about that blessing because I know others that are still in bondage. So it's a reminder that it keeps me humble. That's what it does. And I'm glad the Lord brings that to my remembrance of, hey, there's others still in the struggle. So we're in 2 Samuel chapter 16. Second Samuel chapter 16. We're going to start in verse 5 here. Talking about having a bad day or a bad go of it. Boy, David here, he's in a fix, isn't he? Absalom's run him out of town. Ahithophel stayed behind. Ziba come and has lied to him. And it's just going to keep getting better. Because now he comes to Bahurim. Now this is the city of Benjamin. Now do y'all know who Saul was of the tribe of? Benjamin. And there's this probably short little fella comes out to meet him. Y'all have seen the type, short, wiry type fella, I can just imagine. That's got a mouth on him. And and he starts at David. His name is Shimei. We've all heard of the cursings of Shimei. I want to challenge you to look at how David handles this. Listen, this world will vex us. Psalms, we all like to quote the first chapter of Psalms, blessed is the man that walketh not. But then you got Psalm chapter 2. What does it say? Why do the heathen rage and the wicked imagine a vain thing? We live a shepherded life, not a sheltered life. Our dear brother here, as we were talking about just before you got here, the things that their family's been through proves they're not sheltered. I've been through things with my family. You all have. And probably this holidays, as we had family gatherings, we were reminded and vexed at times by these things. You're here this morning by divine providence. David was here by divine providence. Do you think he just so happened to be here? Let's look here in verse 5. And when King David came to Bahurim, behold, thence came out a man of the family of the house of Saul, whose name was Shimei, the son of Gera. He came forth and cursed still as he came. And he cast stones at David and at all the servants of King David. And all the people and all the mighty men were on his right hand and on his left. And thus said Shimei when he cursed, come out, thou bloody man, thou man of Belial, calling him a child of the devil. The Lord hath returned upon thee all the blood of the house of Saul, in whose stead thou hast reigned, and the Lord hath delivered the kingdom into the hand of Absalom thy son. And behold, thou art taken in thy mischief, because thou art a bloody man. Now, is he falsely accusing David? David is a bloody man, but it's not of the house of Saul. It's not of the house of Saul. David was innocent as far as Saul and his family was. He went out of his way to not stretch forth his hand against the Lord's anointed. And look what he gets. He gets accused of it anyway. You ever felt like that? No. You got one honest Baptist preacher on the front row here. I have. I've went out of my way to avoid something and still be accused of it anyway. We all probably have. And if you ain't, like he said a while ago, keep living. You'll get there. Elijah, it's coming. Keaton, it's coming. Joseph, it's coming. We'll all face this. Listen, if we take up our cross and we live for the Lord, these kind of things are coming. Then said Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, unto the king, why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Let me go over, I pray thee, and take off his head. He wanted to fix it for him, didn't he? Now this is David's nephew, Abishai. David's sister had 3 sons, Joab, Abishai, and I forget the other one. The other one was killed by Abner, if I remember right. And these all served with David here. And David, they're a heavy hand for him at times because they're very vengeful. They're warriors. They're all about the fight. But I'll remind you, what did Jesus tell his disciples in Luke 9:55? When they wanted him to call down fire from heaven, because those people, listen, our pride. We think a lot of times we're defending God's honor when we're defending our own. Why should we put up with this? Let me go over there and take off his head. What did Jesus tell the disciples? He said, you don't know what spirit you're representing here. You do not know what spirit you're of. Whoa, boy, there's me. Hey, let me take their head off. Let me go to Washington and I'll fix that mess. Or at work. Ouch. And the king said, what have I to do with thee, ye sons of Zeruiah? So let him curse, because the Lord hath said unto him, curse David. Who shall then say, wherefore hast thou done so? And David said to Abishai and to all his servants, behold, my son, which came forth out of my bowels, seeketh my life. How much more now may this Benjaminite do it? Let him alone, and let him curse, for the Lord hath bidden him. It may be that the Lord will look on mine affliction, and that the Lord will requite me good for his cursing this day. David had his eye on the Lord here. David had his eye on God here. He knew this reproach was also a reproof. This is the day that the Lord hath made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Why am I glad in it? Why can't I rejoice in it? What did Paul say in Philippians 4:4? Rejoice in the Lord always. And again I say, rejoice. Where was Paul at when he wrote that? Where was Paul at when he wrote that? Was he sitting in the palace in Rome with Caesar? It's believed he was in a prison cell, writing letters. See, when we see God in our trials and our troubles and see that there His divine hand, what does Hebrews 12:6 say? Whom the Lord loveth, He what? My dad chastened me a lot. I'm not hard-headed at all. And it was grievous. He told me, he said, son, there's going to be one day when the Lord will chasten you. And you'll know when He does. My dad never chastened me and I didn't know it was Him. And I didn't enjoy it. It was grievous. But whom the Lord loveth, He chasteneth. This week when the trials come, or whatever we may be going through right now, let's keep our eye on Him. Let's know it's divine intervention. David said, God sent this fellow here. Leave him alone. He's divinely placed there by God to remind me that I'm not worthy. To remind me that I deserve what I'm getting. See, David took in his mind, I imagine, and flipped the guilt of Saul over to the guilt of Uriah. He knew what he'd done. My dad got on to me one time for something I didn't do, but I knew there was other things I had done that he didn't know about. Now, God ain't like that. He knows when you are sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows when you've been bad or good. It is good that it's true. I love that, brother, you said the other day, and it's so true. Precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of His saints. I'd never seen that before, a loving God. What if He was an angry God? What if He took pleasure in my death? See, we view death as a loss, but for a saint, it is not a loss. It is a transition and an escape out of this sinful, corrupt body. The end of man's not good. Brother John's reminded us that. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. Let me go take his head off. Who is this dog that he should curse the king? Leave him be. Leave him be. I'm afraid we're like Job's friends a lot of times. We see somebody going through this, well, they've done something wrong. And one of the greatest things I've ever seen, Job did nothing wrong. It was divinely placed on him. The Lord said to the devil, He says, hast thou considered my servant? Called him by name. My servant, Job. Hast thou considered my servant, Clay? Guess what's coming? In the world you'll have a great time. Is that what He said? Jesus told the disciples, He said, in the world you shall have tribulations. So these are here to prepare us for this, folks. This is here to prepare. Listen, we're in an artificial environment this morning. Everything's good here. Nobody's really bothering us other than what we let the devil do to us in our mind. But the reason we come out like this is to heal and to prepare. John loaded up and went to the hospital this week. Why did he separate himself from the world and place him in that environment? It was to get well. That's why it's important to come to church, really, or to come apart and worship together. To come out of that and to heal and to prepare. Shimei is going to show up this week. I assure you, by Friday, you'll be met him. Are you going to see the Lord in it? Or are you going to get mad and recompense evil for evil? Like the sons of Zeruiah did. I love y'all. Happy New Year. And may the Lord bless you this morning.